My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise-canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. I come on here right now to give you all a little introduction as to what this next set of videos is to be about. You know, if you've seen before, I made those little squirrels out of those pieces of redwood that were left over from sawing out blanks. Well, here's the original redwood blanks that squirrels are to be carved out of, which are a little thicker. And when I did it, and when I kind of had this whole piece of wood with that piece on the bandsaw, I kind of cut lines here and there and cut out the shape all at once, and then finished cutting the lines to make it into the two pieces like this and the one little piece for each that became the ornaments. And so that is kind of what I'm saying here as far as how I am coming up with this. And so I'd like to mention that I also have some that are from cherry and walnut as well, but we'll just probably say, since redwood happened to be the wood that was left over that became the little flat ornaments, and since it's probably the easiest wood to carve, I have decided that for this series on carving these little squirrels, I am going to use the redwood. So it could probably take us a little while to get a thumbnail on this or something, because, you know, these pieces, they'll kind of come along just the way they do, and we'll get thumbnails on this video perhaps after the pieces are completely carved out. But here is where I start. Make that little line that kind of separates the little tail from the body, and kind of cut along that to make it so it's going to be just a fancy little squirrel that we're going to have here in the long run, just to kind of get a little extra faith and dual in our work, and kind of show how we got a little faith in us just to do the kind of things we do, and see how this kind of works along, I say. And then just kind of come up here where we make this little line here and sort of cut along a little place to make the little ear, and come back around this way to move along where the rest of the body is. I say, like I was saying in one of my previous videos, it's hard to make much sail in July when you're kind of out in places, but it's always good just to kind of have a little something out there just to show to people, and show a little bit of your work out there, and what it always just kind of shows and does and means for people. Because I'll tell y'all, I get out in places like Richmond and stuff, and Kirksville, and in Madison County, and in Versailles and Midway, Woodford County, and places in Lancaster, which I tell you, I can't even think right off what Garrard County is, what that is. So I'd say with this kind of work, you know, it's like we've kind of got little ways we work about things, and I'd say, I tell y'all, just made a little mistake there and chipped off a little bit too much of the ear. So we're gonna make another opportunity out of that eventually. And so I say that Perhaps we still got the little piece of ear right here, and might even just, let's say, you know, kind of like get out a little super glue, and I say just put it right in the daggum spot. I tell y'all. So what we have here, let's get it just where it ought to be in its own right little place. I say kind of get where a little work is going to do us a little good. Kind of, oh heck to that, kind of put on a little place where it's going to be just bright as new. Maybe just kind of let a little glue dry on that ear where we got it back in place, and come back and finish carving it later. I tell you, sometimes the super glue can cause a finger to get a little stuck to the wood, but I can manage that well. I kind of keep things separated enough, so it's going to be a struggle here, but we finally got it in place, and if that chips loose again, we can come back and take care of it later. But this is where we're going to take along with this one and finish what we've already started here with this little tail that's right in its daggum place, and make the little marks just so they show in a good way. I say kind of just put this little place where we kind of make this little place for an ear to come right in and tell us how squirrely, swirly, swirly just has its own little ways. Oh, and I say a little time and effort in our work is going to mean so much to you and me, because I say some of this stuff, it kind of gets good attention and good sales, and sometimes, just sometimes, you got to be grateful enough that people come by your booth and see what you do, or even that they get on your websites and social media pages, see what kind of work you've made, because some people are going to like it and appreciate it, but it kind of gets to be the kind of thing where, depending on the time of year, there's certain things people may or may not be so much in the mood to shop for. You always have to consider that. And I say for this little moment, just take a little place here where we take along this little line, make this little place for the front paw, the front leg of the squirrel, and which in other words could almost be like a little arm or a hand with the way they might use it, you know. And I'd say one thing I learned as a kid, just from looking on a little school box I had, was that chipmunks carry food in their cheeks. And as a kid, I used to read that on the box. I used to ask my mom, why do we not carry food in our cheeks? She said, because we're not designed to carry food in our cheeks. And I said, but chipmunks do. Then she said, but chipmunks are designed to. We humans are not. So, a lot of things you find out in life, you know. Every creature kind of has its own nature, and humans have theirs. So, it'll differ from one of us to the next. And we all just have little things about us different from one to the next. I was always fixated on animals as a kid. Always wanted to do as a human being what animals did. I used to read as a kid that gorillas would beat their chest when they got mad. Used to think that if they did, it would be appropriate for humans to do it too. Funny thing is, it's not. You know, creatures, they have their own ways of doing things when they're mad, but I tell you, we humans, we kind of got to control things a little better. We can't act like the creatures. You know, there might even be people like Jane Goodall and Diane Fossey who are out there among the animals and probably can live among them, act just like them and things like that, but that's not for us to do. It's always different from one of us to the next. Some people can become famous celebrities if they do the things they do. Not everybody can, but I tell y'all that it's like among things I've learned is that common people want to be celebrities, and celebrities aren't happy because they can't live private lives. So we all have the little things about us we would like or want to have in life, but it's different from one of us to the next. And I know in life, you know, we find out that not all of us can do what we know a lot of people who can do. Come along here. Kind of got a little dugout for the front leg now, and think this might be dry enough. We can come back and take care of this little ear here. I'd say any carving of the ear might be done on a different piece at a different time, but I'd say this moment will kind of take on this one that same little step where we dig along the ear, and I say just, you know, make just a little thing like that where we just kind of put the little squirrel's ear to come right back out, and see how we all just do a special little interesting type of thing just to work ourselves out with the wood and the knife, and little gouges will come in too and have their own ways of making their little messes. So it's just kind of like how what we got here, and think I'm gonna try to get a little more glue here to try to hold this down a little better. And this time I kind of took off the glove to do it, and it might even take this a little longer to dry than we think or would suppose, but it's going to be all for the good and all for the better, I say. And come around, I say, time for little things just to get a little drier and make their ways about us, I say. And come along here, just kind of making other little cuts along the way, kind of just working little fashion ways, I say. And put a little here, cut out a little line, I say, make a little here, make another line go this way, I say. Do what we do, make it so we kind of see just what we have to come right out of what we're doing, I say. And I tell y'all that this little project shall make its own good little ways about us. I tell y'all that that ear is going to come dry in its own good little time and take some little pain out of this step. But I say there was probably a little place that was chipped off by mistake right here with the paw. We can kind of glue that right back into place too. And I tell y'all, this redwood is extremely soft. That's probably why it's coming as easily as it is to all the chipping that it's doing, and come down to where we will just see what this shall be when we get a little more done here and there and put the little paw in place. I tell y'all that this is a moment when we might have to stop right here There's going to be little things to say and do as we move along the way, but I say that for a little carving we've done, we've made a great demonstration here of what needs to be and how it should be and the way it should be. So that is just one thing I'd like to say on a further note for when this glue dries out, for we will have better pieces of wood in store and in place for what we're going to have when it comes down to a nice little project we make. Thank you all for watching. I pray you will always take care and keep in touch. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.